ownership situation, because there's been a couple of updates on it, even a statement on the club website, which I thought was absolutely fascinating, that the club are actually responding to media speculation on the website in form of a statement. So just before we get into that statement, there's been a couple of updates from various journalists on the matter, and Matt Law says that over 100 million is scheduled to be pumped into Tottenham to help press ahead with ENIC's desire to make sure Tottenham can be competitive on all fronts. Daniel Levy's departure from Spurs may unlock the stadium naming rights, something that the club have been working towards, and a club source from the Lewis family has told that the media that the club is not for sale. Sky Cover says that Tottenham say a majority owner, ENIC 86.6, has rejected a takeover interest from Amanda Staveley's PCP and Roger Kennedy Wing Fei consortium, insisting that the club is not for sale. Interested parties have until October the 5th to make formal bids, but PCP is expected to withdraw, and Spurs are valued at about £4 billion. And Mark Kleiman from Sky says that former Newcastle joint owner Amanda Staveley is expected to issue a statement imminently following the discussions with the United Kingdom takeover watchdog, saying that she does not intend to make a formal offer for Tottenham Hotspur. And people close to the situation that said that Staveley had been in discussions with backers of a bid for the club in recent weeks. Martin Ziegler from The Times says that a consortium represented by Amanda Staveley will continue to monitor events at Tottenham before deciding whether to make any further approach to buy the club next year. So all that has been going on in the background. Obviously, we've seen Amanda Staveley at Spurs games for a while now. We've heard, locked in talks with Daniel Levy. There's been two kind of sides to this that we've spoken about when Daniel Levy got sacked, in terms of whether Spurs are for sale, what the situation is there, and what the stance is from ENIC. So we said at the time that either ENIC are not for sale, or Spurs are not for sale, and they do want to say they want to, make Tottenham better on the sporting project and stuff like that, which is a reason why Daniel Levy was sacked. Or has Daniel Levy been sacked because he's been a stumbling block and he's been a kind of object in the way of Spurs being sold? So on the back of that, Spurs have issued this public statement, which is pretty mad. I've never seen Spurs issue a public statement kind of this vein before. There's been a lot of talk about Spurs being taken over in the past, but never have they issued a public statement. And I'm just trying to get it up. Yeah, here it is. So it's a hefty old statement on the website, which reads that the board of Tottenham Hotspur is aware of recent media speculation and confirms that its majority stakeholder, ENIC Sports and Development Holdings Ltd, has received and unequivocally rejected separate preliminary expressions of interest in relation to proposals to acquire the entire issued and to be issued a share capital of ENIC from PCB International Finance Limited and a consortium investors led by Dr. Roger Kennedy and Wing Fei through Firehawks Holding Limited as a consequence of ENIC's majority ownership interest in Tottenham Hotspur, where any offer made to acquire ENIC and complete a mandatory offer would be required under Rule 9 and a code to acquire the shares of Tottenham Hotspur not already held by ENIC. The board of the club and ENIC confirmed that Tottenham Hotspur is not for sale and ENIC has no intention to accept any offer to acquire its interest in the club. In accordance to Rule 2.6a of the code, each of the PCP and the consortium is separately required by not a later date than 5 p.m. on the 5th of October 2025 to either announce a firm intention to make an offer for the club in accordance to Rule 2.7 of the code, or announce that it does not intend to make an offer for the company, in which case their respective announcements will be treated as a statement to which the Rule 2.8 of the code applies. The deadline can be extended with the consent of the panel on takeovers and mergers in accordance to Rule 2.6c of the code. Accordingly, this announcement commences an offer period for the purposes of the code. The person responsible, and then they just literally state Peter Charrington, Rothschild, and a few other guys, and they've actually put their phone numbers and emails in the statement as well. And then there's a bunch of other stuff that just talk about the rules and stipulations regarding everything. So, I mean, what do you make out of all this?
Well, apparently they're legally required to make this statement. So I don't know how much of a surprise it is or whatever. Does this mean that they're not going to sell in the future? I don't think so. I mean, I don't think it doesn't mean that, sorry. I still think that they're probably looking to sell. I think at the moment, I think when you put out a statement like that Spurs are not for sale, obviously strengthens your selling position, because you're putting out the impression that you're not wanting to lose it without losing it to a fair price. If you're putting out the message, we are for sale, all of a sudden you lose a bit of leverage in negotiation. So it doesn't surprise me that they've put out a statement like that, given the media's speculation. But I don't think it means too much. It just means in the short term, apparently these offers came in after Levy left. So if that's the case, that tells me Levy's gone. They must have had some sort of encouragement to put in offers or something, but maybe the offers haven't met the requirement of what ENIC want, or maybe they think with Levy out of the picture they can get a better deal. But it seems as though ENIC is maybe holding to their price, and they want, you know, the 3.5-4 billion.
Well, they probably saw, you know, Levy as that man in the middle that, you know, we heard rumours that with any takeover, he still wants to be involved, he still wants to be running the club and everything like that. And once they saw Levy leaving, maybe that was, you know, a trigger for them to say, well, look, Levy's not in the picture anymore in terms of negotiations for a sale. And they thought, well, maybe it'll be an easier kind of hurdle to get across now. Yeah,
I just don't think it's a coincidence that they've bid since Levy's gone. Like, in terms of, there must have been something in the background in terms of talks and stuff. Thinking like, once Levy goes, we're hearing, you know, Levy's going to be out. So once he goes, let's firm our interest. But at the moment, they're saying not for sale. So, I mean, the rumours are that Lewis family at the moment are portraying into the media and to the fans that we've let go of Levy because we want better sporting performances on the pitch, and we're going to invest heavily. And then there's talk of £100 million investment. I mean, does a £100 million investment in this day and age, in this market, suggest massive ambition?
Not necessarily, but 100 million on top of what we can already spend is probably quite significant in terms of all the money that we bring in and everything like that. There's no suggestion that we're going to have monstrous amounts of money to spend, but even with Daniel Levy, we've been net spending about 100 million a summer on average for the last 3-4 years. So if you take that money plus an investment, then that does look quite significant.
Yeah, but is this 100 million just to cover what we just spent? I don't know. I just feel this is all very much PR statements from the Lewis family.
Yeah, I don't agree. I don't disagree.
To like get the fans on side, to try and give the fans what they want to hear. In the lead up to what potentially could be a sale down the line, in my opinion. I don't know. Like, let's be honest, the Lewis family have been in control of this the whole time. Levy's pretty much done their bidding. It's not like Levy's been at odds with Joe Lewis for this whole time. They've been working together. Levy spent the amount of money Lewis has given him. Lewis has not really invested anything in the club. Obviously, the PR move now is, it's his kids or grandkids, whoever it is, who are now in charge, and they see things differently. And look, I mean, that might be true, but I just find it hard to believe that Joe Lewis is, you know, he's completely out of the picture. They're not listening to whatever he has to say. They're now going in a different direction. They're only looking for sporting achievements. That's their number one priority. They want to win more games and win them more often. And it's not for sale, and that's their main aim. I'm just very, very sceptical. I'm not really buying it at the moment.
Yeah, and I think you should be right to be sceptical of it, because what is ENIC?
Investment company.
Exactly. And what investment companies do, they come in, they buy for cheap, and they sell for big. So I think that's what the ultimate game will be here, is to sell Tottenham Hotspur.
Yeah.
They've already come in and bought it for, what was it, like 75 million or something around that figure. I can't remember the exact figure. And once they sell, they're going to be selling for over 4 billion, £4 billion. So that is mad money to make on a business over the course of 25 years. So I do think that's going to be the end game here for ENIC. It is to sell. And I think getting rid of Daniel Levy you can look at it two ways. It's either what they're portraying in the media. Is it to be better on the pitch and for sporting success? Obviously, they have to put that out because that's the only thing that's going to get the fans on board. They're not going to come out and say, "Oh, we've got rid of Levy because we want to make more money and we want to sell the club." Well, to be fair, to put the club on the market is probably another thing that probably get fans on board in the short term, because a lot of fans do want ENIC out. But look, they have to say that they want to do better on the pitch. That's just what they have to put out there, in my opinion. It will get fans on board, and a new era without Daniel Levy. That's just what they have to say. But in my opinion, the end game here is to sell. I think it has to be, and I think Daniel Levy was a clear object in that. They built the club up to such a significant proportion where, you know, it can earn 4 to 5 billion. The infrastructure's there. It's a club ready to explode. I think it's such an attractive proposition for a potential buyer. So I think at some point they will look to sell, but it's about how they manage the club from now until that point. Are they going to scrimp and save and not spend too much money until that point? Some kind of investors or some owners, before they save, they kind of like strip all assets until that time is to sell. But I don't know the way they're going to manage it. That's what it comes down to.
I reckon, in terms of the amount we're spending at the moment, I don't know if we'll see a massive increase in that. That's just my opinion. I mean, we're spending at the moment like 100 million net, like a summer anyway. So it's not like we're not spending anything. Obviously, compared to like a lot of the bigger clubs, we're not matching their level of investment. You know, Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal spending on kind of 200 million this summer. But I don't know. I don't think we're matching that in the near future until maybe we sell.
In terms of net spend, I think we're like the 4th highest in the league
This season, this summer.
I think over the last few years.
Yeah, something like that. Which, whether you can like that or not, I just don't know if it's going to be much more than that. Which I don't know necessarily like a terrible thing. Like, we don't have to be top, but like of the net spend, I just don't think we should expect. I don't think much is going to change when it comes to how much we're spending. Maybe wages will go up.
I hope so.
Maybe we'll start spending more on wages. Obviously, Simons, we've given him pay parity with Romero. Romero's got a new contract. Spencer got a new contract. So there is some evidence of higher wages being paid. I don't know how much more Arnie's on.
It's just a replacement in wages, though, isn't it? It's not like that we're pushing the boat out anymore, because we've got wages off the bill in Son, who was, you know, of that kind of exactly the same wages.
Yeah, but Kudus is on over 100 grand. I don't know how much more Arnie's on. I would imagine he's on over 100 grand. Paulinho, I'm guessing he's on over 100 grand. So we are adding a lot of these players on high wages. I know 2 of them are on loan, but still, we are adding a lot of higher wage players into the squad. So maybe there is a bit of evidence of that, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes long term.
Yeah, Meme Football in the comments says that why would they invest 100 million into the club if they're looking to sell?
Why would they invest 100 million into the club they're looking to sell? Don't know. I'm not. There are all these different things going on in the background. I don't know what's going on. There's a lot of ulterior motives. There's what they're putting out in the public and what's really going on behind the scenes. Like the whole Levy story, who really knows what's happened in the background? Was he ousted because he was blocking the sale? Some even suggesting, was he ousted because he was looking to sell and maybe they don't want him to, so they ousted him? I don't really know. I would say probably the former, but we're never really going to know what's happening behind closed doors. There's a lot of stuff happening publicly, which they're going to say why it's happening, but we never truly know what's going on behind closed doors. We can only speculate, really.
Yeah.
We can obviously take what they're saying on face value. It's not for sale. They want sporting achievement, all this kind of stuff, but I just don't buy it, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to when you know what ENIC are and you know what they're all about. They're all about making money, and they're all about...
And what, after 25 years, all of a sudden, they're after sporting achievement?
Yeah. But I guess the excuse that they give for that is that Joe Lewis is supposedly no longer involved anymore. And I've actually heard in the background for years that Joe Lewis's kids have always wanted success on the pitch, but who knows how true that is? We don't know. So I think if they're not going to sell anytime soon, in the next year to 2 years, whatever it may be, we need to take them on face value that they want improvements on the pitch, and they need to put their money where their mouth is now. And I think it's important, and I was speaking to Brian about this a couple of nights ago, maybe it was last night, that we need to give them time, and we need to see what they're about to do. So I think, you need to see over the January transfer window, you need to see over the summer transfer window, and I don't think there should be any kind of discredit to the board. We need to give them time, and we need to see what they want to achieve, and when we want to see how they're going to achieve it. So we need to give them time and space to work in.